bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. Today's Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. 253 days into the new year, only 113 days left. We are live. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planets. I am your host, Jimmy Church. How are you doing? Tonight is night 3 of UFO Week here on Fade to Black. I'm typing and tweeting at the same time. That's right. If you want to see what I'm tweeting, follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Oh, wait a minute. I misspelled that. Oh, a good thing I didn't tweet that yet. There we go. Just got that out. Showing off my t-shirt that I'm wearing tonight. Can you see it? The Extra-terrestrial Highway t-shirt from Nevada, Area 51. That's right, the black mailbox. Wearing that tonight. And it's going to be a great show. Tonight, Kevin Estrella is here from Pyramids on Mars. Kevin Estrella, the band Pyramids on Mars. Kevin is a guitar player and a contactee and experiencer, and we are going to go through all of that tonight because it is UFO week here on Fade to Black. Joking about that last night. It's always UFO week. It's always 9/9/2020. 9 plus 9 plus 2 plus 0. But there's 2 zeros. So it should be 9 plus 9 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0. Right? Right? Equals 2020. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Sarah. 9/9/2020 equals 2020. There you go. Check it out right now. Hashtag F2B on Twitter. That's the sandbox. And there you go. Okay, so tonight, Kevin Estrella's here. Tomorrow night is Fader night. Thursday night, open lines. And tomorrow it's going to be my favorite night of the week. Tonight is my favorite night of the week because tonight we are going to be able to do all of my favorite subjects in one show. We're going to get to talk about UFOs, ET, contact, right? We're going to get all of that in, and guitars, and some Yngwie, some Dimebag, right? Some Eddie Van Halen. And Kevin's a big Joe Satriani guy, too, as well. So we'll get some Satch in. And, there's one thing before we move on. Oh, you know what? I'll save this for later. But there's an interesting ET twist to all of the great guitar players. And one you may not know. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. All right. So that is tonight, Kevin Estrella. And I do want to let everybody know that was it Monday? Did we do it? Today's Wednesday. Was it yesterday? Monday we launched episode 3 of the H Factor. I want you to go over to our new YouTube channel for the Game Changer Network and go subscribe to the channel and check out episode 3 of the H Factor. And episodes 4 and 5 are heading your way here very soon. But go and check those out. And very interesting stuff in there. It's a real deep dive into big science. This week we did big science, big drama. Crazy stuff. And if you go and take some notes during the H Factor, just take some notes, right? Henry Markram. You probably never heard of Henry Markram. Go and write that down. Just go and take some notes and jump down the rabbit hole. It's crazy stuff. All of it right there in episode 3 of the H Factor. All right. Where am I at? Oh, of course. I'm right where I need to be. Carolyn Ford. Click on Carolyn's banners for EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go and visit her most excellent website and check out all of the amazing crystal skulls she's got right there. Imprinted by Einstein, the ancient crystal skull of knowledge. That's right. You can go do it now. Use the promo code Jimmy, 10% off of your crystal skull order today. Everybody wants one. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple. At JChurchRadio. Okay, question or comments during the show tonight. Hashtag F2BQ. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. You can also email throughout the show, Jimmy at JimmyChurchRadio.com. We have plenty of ways to hang out with the show in real time. Of course, we have 2 chat rooms, one at Spreaker, one over at KGRA The Planet. We've got everybody over on YouTube. Hello, everybody over on YouTube. We've got the Bunker Cam. Do we have the chat room open now on the Bunker Cam for the members? I think we do. If we don't, it's coming. Did I just disclose something? I did make the announcement. Okay, well, that's coming soon, too, as well, for all of you members. And what was I going to say next? TalkStream Live, Facebook. All right, if you're listening on iHeart, hello, and let's tune in, all that stuff. Okay, all right. Well, today, let's get to the breaking news. Today, Captain Bleepin' Kirk got in. William Shatner. Listen to this. It's about the Space Force. Because in this bizarre real-life plot twist, worthy of any Star Trek episode, by the way, earlier today, I just completed binging the first 3 seasons of the original Star Trek. Yep, I watched the last episode, and kind of bummed. Man, I wish that, it's just so amazing. Anyway, William Shatner, who played Captain James T. Kirk, wants the U.S. Space Force to rename its colonels to captains. Yeah. And I just assumed they would be captains to begin with, right? It's the Space Force. That's what I thought. What Shatner's supporting now is a proposed amendment to the House of Representatives version of the 2021 National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, which is nicknamed the Starfleet Amendment. The amendment, which was introduced by former Navy SEAL Representative Dan Crenshaw from Texas back in July, would replace the current designation of colonel in the U.S. Space Force with captain. It hasn't passed yet, and the proposal will need to be supported by the Senate to become law. And what they are saying is it's space, and space is like the open ocean, and the Navy was there to protect commercial fleets, and that this new Space Force is going to be protecting the commercial endeavors that are going to be going on up there in orbit, like, with Amazon and Blue Horizon and Elon Musk and others, that they're going to be up there. It's almost like it's the space version of maritime law, and that we should have the same ranks as the United States Navy. There's no place for a colonel, right? They don't want that. They want Captain, and it just makes sense. It just makes sense. I'm with Shatner on this one. All right, big news today. Big news. Probably the biggest news of 2020. And if you don't think 2020 has been the craziest big news year ever, you know, and most of it kind of dark, well, you needed to hear this. This is the biggest news of 2020. This is what is going to save 2020. Quote me. Because today, the Dune official trailer was released. That's right, Oscar nominee Denis Villeneuve, who directed Arrival and Blade Runner 2049, two great movies right there. I just watched Arrival like a week ago, again, like for the 50th time. He directs the big screen adaptation of Frank Herbert's seminal bestseller of the same name, Dune. Now, I like Kyle MacLachlan's version. I do. Watch it all the time. I do. But the new Dune cast, now check this out, includes Zendaya, you know, the Disney girl singer, Timothy Chalamet, who was in, he was in that Matthew McConaughey movie, Interstellar, played the son. Jason Momoa is in this. Josh Brolin is in the new Dune. Dave Bautista, who is rapidly becoming one of my favorite actors. Stellan Skarsgård and Javier Bardem. And that's just a partial cast. It's going to be incredible. And if you haven't seen it, the trailer, go and check it out. But I'm just going to say this. If it ain't over 3 hours long, I'm going to want my money back. The big news, the release date is now official. December 18th, 2020. Dune is going to save our year. Yeah. Ireland's Data Protection Commission in August ordered Facebook to stop sending data about its European Union users to the United States. The preliminary order could have a massive ramification on Facebook's operations in the United Kingdom, in the European Union. The UK ain't going to be part of that. Do you think a Brexit's actually going to happen? Do you think it's actually? I remember even after the vote passed and everything went topsy-turvy over, I was like, nah, it ain't going to happen. It just ain't going to happen. Anyway, the tech giant being fined if it fails to comply with the decree. Back in July, the European Court of Justice issued new restriction for companies that store data of EU residents on American servers. The EU's top court said that the data transfers to the U.S. could violate the privacy of Europeans and subject their information to U.S. surveillance. That's right. In May 2018, the EU implemented the General Data Protection Regulation, or the GDPR, which requires businesses to protect personal data. Big tech companies have been forced to rework their user privacy policies since the regulation was introduced. In July 2019, here in the United States, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, fined Facebook $5 billion due to data privacy violations. Absolutely insane. And this is the thing. The internet, it goes without saying, that's worldwide. You have a website in the United States, it's viewed in the European Union. So that's it. And if you have one customer, one listener, one thing that's clicking on your website over in the European Union, you better have updated your privacy notifications and and your terms of service. All of that had to be updated. We did it here on Fade to Black, but you had to comply, or you were getting fines, or you were getting blocked in the EU, your website. So think about that. It's absolutely nuts. Now, I got some sad news, and I reported on this a couple of months ago when this went down originally, but Forrest Fenn, whose 10-year treasure hunt inspired thousands of people to explore out west, has died. He was 90 years old. Fenn died of apparent natural causes at his home in New Mexico. Fenn was an art and antiquities collector and southwestern raconteur, best known for hiding a treasure chest somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. He published cryptic clues 10 years ago in his autobiography, The Thrill of the Chase, and set off a treasure hunting phenomenon. Skeptics had believed that his treasure hunt was a hoax until this past June, when it was announced an anonymous adventurer had finally found the bounty. Fenn shared photos to prove the treasure was real all along. That's right, a silver chest teemed with gold, jewelry, and other artifacts believed to total over $1 million. Man, well, he lived to see it, though, right? 90 years old. Life well lived right there. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to Adam Sandler. That's right, Adam Sandler today. 54 years old. Michael Bublé today is just 45. Hugh Grant today is 60. I thought he was about 70. He's only 60? It's got to be a typo. And the Eurythmics' Dave Stewart today is 68 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is, it seems like I do this every year, don't I? Otis Redding. 1941 to 1967, died at the young age of 26 years old. Otis is considered one of the greatest singers in the history of popular music. He died in a plane crash en route to Madison, Wisconsin on Sunday, December 10th, 1967. He was to play at the Factory nightclub near the University of Wisconsin that evening. Unbelievable. Happy birthday, Otis Redding. On this day in history, OTD, 1956. It went down. The king of rock and roll teams up with the king of TV as Elvis Presley appears on the Ed Sullivan television show for the first time. With 60 million viewers, or 82.6% of TV viewers at the time tuning in, everybody in the United States watched this broadcast. The appearance was the most watched TV broadcast of all of the 1950s. Fader fact. Oh, by the way, Ed Sullivan paid Elvis back then, right? 1956. 50 grand. Man, that's 50 grand. Somebody do the conversion of that right now. Pop it up in Twitter. What is 50 grand in 1956 dollars worth today? When someone says there's no difference in coffee. Oh, God. Oh, man. Yeah, go to Carl's Jr. Go to a Hardee's. Get coffee. And tell me there isn't a difference in coffee. Dunkin' Donuts has stepped up their game, though, for sure. All right, Fader fact. All right, here you go. You guys are going to love this. This is unbelievable. But it's a fact, and it's vetted. There is a valley in Antarctica called the Dry Valleys, which scientists consider to be the closest of any terrestrial environment to Mars. And there, it hasn't received any rain in almost 2 million years. And that is your Fader fact. That's crazy. $472,378.68 in 2020. That is some dosh. Thank you for that, Dan James. We got that update in Twitter from Australia. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Big teddy bear. I know, right? Do you remember when he was an MMA fighter? Loved him then, too, as well. That's right. He's funny. Guardians of the Galaxy. He's funny in everything. That new spy movie that came out, what's it called? My Spy? my little spy. I can't remember what it's called. It's pretty good though. It's a pretty good movie. Pretty good movie. All right, let me hit this River Moon Coffee. rivermooncoffee.com. Yeah, it's the best. Is this making noise again? Yeah. Ooh, it is. Here, that's the springs. See? Ah, no spring action. Ah. So I thought this was fixing it. But that is not. I need some tape. I'm going to fix it right now. Hold on. Watch this. This is how you fix something in the studio really quick. Okay, so you grab this double sticky tape. You grab your razor blade. Cut it. Pop it on here. Now let's see what happens. Huh. It's better. It's not perfect, though. Okay. All right. But it's better. It's better. This is Fade to Black, rivermooncoffee.com, Fade to Black Blend. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. Now, tonight, Kevin Estrella is here. And when I started this show, back in the beginning, the vision that I had, was that, man, I need to be able to just talk about my favorite things. I just want to just let my mind go. I don't care if it's Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, UFOs, Roswell, Travis Walton, don't care. Bob Lazar, right? Don't care. Abductions, pyramids, lost history, Mars, secret space program, whatever, right? And guitars, and be able to talk about food and things. Just be myself, right? And that is what this show has been from the very beginning. There is a strange connection if you go and look at, and this is bizarre to me because it's true. If you go and you look up just about any popular artist, and specifically I can bring up guitar players, they will have had an album cover with a UFO on it. They will have had an album cover with a pyramid with Giza on it. They will have, a ghost. They will have something supernatural, paranormal, something conspiracy related on one of their album covers. Then you dig deeper, and then you'll find some songs. And then there are the other artists out there that have really taken it to the extreme, where they don't hide what they're dealing with. And if you go to like the covers of the Boston albums, think about that. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Think about that. Parliament Funkadelic. Think about that. The Carpenters, way E.T., right? Well, then there's artists like Steve Vai and his album, Alien Love Secrets. That's right. Alien Love Secrets. Check out that album. Check out the album cover. And Steve's talk about, and you look at his guitars with the pyramids on the neck and his studio, the way he designed his things and the way he looks and everything. Dude's an alien, right? That's Steve Vai. And then you have somebody like Joe Satriani, right? Surfing with the Alien. It might be his biggest hit is called Surfing with the Alien. And then you go and just start to examine and go and look. It doesn't matter if it's Black Sabbath or if it's Van Halen. You can go and start to take a look at these bands and look at some of the songs that they have done or their album covers, and you are going to see all of it. And it has had a big influence on me. It has. And then we have an artist like Kevin Estrella, who had an experience. We're going to be talking about that tonight, Contact. And his band, his project is called Pyramids on Mars. And he has gone fully public now. So not only with Pyramids on Mars, but he's got Pyramids on Mars UFO Radio. He's a radio host. He writes the music. And he's going out and speaking and doing interviews. Kevin reached out to me many years ago, and I've been listening to his music ever since. And this is the first opportunity that we've been able to have him on the show. But I'm really looking forward to this because Kevin and I are a lot alike. I don't play as good as he does. But the reasons for us being here are the same. And if you look at musicians and you think about it, I don't care who you go to. It could be Johnny Cash. Doesn't matter. Elvis. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Just go and look. Us musicians and artists and creative people are not afraid of talking about these things and expressing ourselves. That's why I'm really looking forward to this show tonight. And Alien Sex Fiend. That's pretty good, Pendleton. That's pretty good. Let's see. Jimmy needs a good mechanic. Better help him before he hurts himself. Oh, what? With me? Yeah, I'm with you on that. That was kind of dangerous. I do keep this in the studio, right next to me. You never know, right, when you're going to need something like that, like right now. And see, it's nice and quiet. Now it's not making that noise. At least not as bad. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight is night 3 of our UFO week here on Fade to Black. Tonight's guest, Kevin Estrella, Pyramids on Mars. Tomorrow night, Fader Night, open lines all night long. All right? Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. All simple, all easy, right? Right. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight is night three of UFO Week here on Fade to Black. Tonight, Kevin Estrella of Pyramids on Mars is with us. Tomorrow night's another Fader night. Open lines all night long. But tonight it's Kevin Estrella, guitarist for Pyramids on Mars. We're going to have a full evening of UFOs, contact, music, and guitars. And for me, it is the perfect night here on Fade to Black. Kevin has been welcomed deep into the UFO community after having his own firsthand encounter with something not of this world. He is the guitarist and the composer of the international, international and instrumental rock band Pyramids on Mars. And he has always had a passion for UFOs and extraterrestrials. He spent over 20 years researching to understand why they are here. Kevin wanted to combine his passion of music with raising consciousness and awareness of the UFO and extraterrestrial presence. He has felt it was always his purpose in life. We're going to talk about what happened back in 2014 in just a minute. And also, I want to mention that Kevin has been a featured guest on over 50 UFO talk radio shows and is the host of Pyramids on Mars UFO Radio on ArtistFirst Radio Network. All of his websites, Pyramids on Mars, and his guitar lessons, and, of course, the radio show on ArtistFirst. The links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Kevin Estrella. Kevin, welcome.
How you doing, Jimmy? I am so glad to be here. Really glad.
How glad are you? Are you glad enough to take the first-time guest disclaimer?
Sure.
You've been waiting for it. Here we go. Kevin, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. There you go. See?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
You know, I know that every time I have a first-time guest on, they have listened to the show in the past and they've heard the first-time guest disclaimer. And nearly every time they will ask me, during the sound check or during hey, do I get the first-time guest disclaimer? Yes, you do. All right. It's just become this thing. Welcome to the show, and I love everything that we're going to be talking about tonight, and it's just a free-form conversation. But one of the things that I definitely want to get into first is Yngwie Malmsteen, and there's a reason for that. Yeah, okay. Now I know you're surprised. We'll get to UFOs in just a second. I know where I was the first time I heard the Steeler record. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I was back in Indianapolis, And I had read, Mike Varney's column in Guitar Player magazine, right? What was it called? Up and Coming Artists or New Faces or whatever it was. And there's Yngwie, and he's like 18 years old. I think he was still in Sweden. And I thought, okay, all right. So I remember reading about him, and then I heard the first Steeler record, and I nearly wanted to quit playing guitar at that point. It was just like, it's just not even worth it. Do you remember the first time you heard Yngwie?
Oh God, yeah. It was a buddy of mine that he was a guitar player, and I was over at his place, and he pulled out on vinyl Marching Out.
Yes.
And he put on I'll See the Light Tonight, and I was just floored. I could not believe I never heard anybody play so fast, and what he was playing was just absolutely phenomenal. And, even to this day, I can still listen to that song, and it still he can't play as good as he did it on that first album. Like, the stuff he was doing, it was just so freaking fast and unbelievable. And it took me years to learn some of those licks, because he was doing like Vivaldi type of patterns and stuff. And I was just blown away. And he was a huge inspiration for me. And, I ended up spending years studying his music. In fact, actually, I spent 2 years just listening to nothing but Yngwie Malmsteen. I mean, I listened to no other music than just Yngwie for 2 years, studied him back and forth until I learned his style. I really did. I was that dedicated. I loved his music.
Yeah, those first 3 records for me, Rising Force, Marching Out, and Trilogy, fundamentally 3 different records with 3 different sounds. Jeff Scott Soto sang on Rising Force and Marching Out. And you're right, I'll See the Light Tonight. Oh, man, right? And Jeff Scott Soto, for me, at that time, was the perfect complement for what Yngwie was doing. That first record, I think he was trying really hard to do his thing, and I'm talking about Rising Force, and it's a magical record, right? He was trying really hard. Marching Out comes out, and I think he was getting into his stride and a different approach to songwriting. And then when Trilogy, by the time he got to Trilogy, Mark Bowles comes in on vocals, and I thought that Trilogy was probably his best record of those 3, because it was a combination of Marching Out and Rising Force. And very melodic, and Mark Bowles was a great singer at that time. So, but those first 3 records, man, did you get a chance to see him live back in the day?
No, I that's one thing that I wish I could have, is to see him live. I mean, I've watched him hundreds of times on TV live, and I'd be playing video games, and I'll stop that and I'll throw on some Alcatraz and watch some old, Yngwie playing and stuff. But it's always an inspiration to listen, because he's like a tiger. He really is. When we start playing guitar, it's like a tiger being released out of a cage at full volume, at full throttle, and you can't stop him. He's a very passionate player.
Yeah, he is. No, and he is he's criticized a lot, and I get that, and I understand why. And probably most of the criticism is coming from critics that can't play like him. So they're just they're just a little bit angry. But his playing is real, and you just watch, and you just have to just stop and appreciate the amount of time that he took in practicing and breaking out with a style of his own, and created an entire new genre. Without Yngwie, there would have been no Shrapnel records. There would have been no shredding of all those shredders, that whole phenomenon that happened in the 80s. I did happen to see him. I probably saw him 3 times. And specifically, though, I saw him at the Universal Amphitheater, and that was a great show. But I saw him at the Palladium, and you know who opened? Oh, check this out. Talus, Billy Sheehan.
Oh yeah,
that was Talus.
Billy Sheehan. Oh,
it was
man.
Talus and Yngwie Malmsteen. So anyway, but that show, I was in like the second row with my friend Rob, right there, right front and center, 1985. Marching out. It was the marching out tour, and so when you get to see him like that, it's just
oh my god,
inspiration.
You never forget that.
So besides Yngwie, who were you also listening to back then?
I was the first band that really turned my brother on to music was Rush. My cousin introduced us to Rush, and we had to learn every single Rush song that we could. And so we did. I mean, at that point, Signals had just come out, and I got this book called Rush Complete, and it had all of their music. So I learned every Rush song I possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really Rush for me. And then when I was hugely influenced by Iron Maiden too. So we were playing a lot of Iron Maiden, a lot of Rush. But I really found myself. It was grade 10, homeroom, when my best friend had these 2 tapes of Joe Satriani of Surfing with the Alien and Not of This Earth, and he said, "Hey, check out this guitar player, Joe Satriani. He's amazing." And I threw on the tape and I started listening to Surfing with the Alien, and I never heard anybody playing like that before, and how melodic Joe was. And I took those tapes home, and that was the life-changing moment for me. I knew that my life was going to change, that was the direction of music that I wanted to go. And I became dedicated I spent years in high school. I was a guy who was, on recess, checking out a guitar, going and playing, practicing my guitar. I practiced and practiced and practiced. That's what I did, and my brother and I, we ended up actually becoming, we were so well known at our high school for musicianship that years after we graduated, people were still talking about us because I found out from other people. Like, you guys are still talking about the Estrella brothers. You guys are legends. We're like, really?
It's funny that you bring up Satriani, because I listened to, Surfing with the Alien was played a lot on the radio here in Los Angeles, around the world, but it was certainly on the radio a lot here. And I got a chance to go and see Satriani at the Roxy Theater. He played 2 shows in one night, and I went to both shows. It was Stu Ham, the classic band, 1985, 86. And this is what I learned from Satriani. All right? It's going to be the opposite of what you're going to expect me to say. It taught me what I heard on the radio and what I was seeing live. When you're listening to it, it sounds like it's very technical. Then you see him play live, and he's actually economical in his playing, right? The notes are the same. What I'm saying is it's not a bunch of flashy, pyrotechnics on the fretboard.
Okay.
He's got an economical way of playing, and that's what I got. I was like, man, you don't have to be Yngwie to sound like somebody so magical. And he was an economical player, and I was able, I didn't have to go and skipping strings and arpeggios and doing this Bach thing or Vivaldi, Paganini. I didn't have to do that. I could be myself, and I also got that out of Steve Vai too, as well, in his way of playing, especially on the Eat 'Em and Smile record, where I really felt that even though it's a technical challenge to play those songs, if you think about it, it's not Yngwie, right? It's not Eddie Van Halen. It's not, and that's Satriani and Steve Vai were 2 guys who actually taught each other how to play, right? And that's another twist of this. But it's a way to find your own style, and that's what I got out of Satriani.
Yeah. I learned a lot from I grew up with Satriani, I grew up with Vai, I grew up with Malmsteen, and I learned over the years, the important thing is to not try and pretend to be these guys. Like, you can take pieces of different guitar players, but ultimately when you pick up your guitar, you're going to sound like yourself. and what's important is to discover yourself and discover your own style. And and everybody, every guitar player has strengths. Every guitar player has weaknesses. And if you listen to these guys talking, you see even Steve Vai says, like, I focus on my strengths. I know where my weaknesses are, and I know where his weaknesses are too, and I know where Satriani's weaknesses are. But you focus on what makes you you, and that's what makes you unique, and try and become the best player you can. I mean, Eddie Van Halen. I still listen to the guitar solo for "Beat It," and I still cannot figure out what he's doing.
Yeah, I know.
It's just the most amazing guitar solo I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. You got that right. And there's another element to this, and for all the musicians out there, I did this like 3 or 4 different times in like 30 years, where I would woodshed the technical stuff, right? And go through that, and then I would back off, and I would go to Stevie Ray Vaughan, or I would go to ZZ Top, and get out of the box and into another box, and then start writing. Because you know what I mean? Because that you forget about the technical, because if you stay on the technical stuff, you're gonna write that way. So I would pull out of that. I would go into listen to DeGuayo, or Texas Flood for a few months, and not even touch the other stuff, and then write. And I found that was something that really worked for me. Have you done that? Have you gone in and out of those phases?
Yeah, there, I used to have this really regimented, practice schedule of, like 15 minutes of chromatics, and then, 15 minutes of scales and all this other kind of stuff. And what I ended up finding was that I couldn't play after I was doing all those scales, because I spent all this time doing this technical theory stuff. And I honestly, Jimmy, the greatest thing I ever learned from Yngwie Malmsteen was when I found out he's never practiced a day in his life. And that changed everything for me. And I realized, he said, when I pick up the guitar, I'm just playing melodies. And that's when I stopped practicing. And when I pick up the guitar now, I'm just playing melodies and coming up with riffs and stuff. And I just play and improvise. And I learned so much more, because your playing becomes more fluid, and you're throwing away all this, regimented structure crap. Once you start knowing how to play stuff and come up with your own melodies and start playing more, and you actually become more technically challenged in that way. And and the thing is that you're being creative at the same time that you're developing your chops, but you're putting your heart back into it again. So I stopped practicing like 10 years ago.
It's so funny. I don't know if you're watching Twitter right now, but everybody, it's great to see the Fadernauts so engaged in this conversation. Scott Helmer just said, do we all remember getting the latest issues of Young Guitar magazine from Japan? I totally remember, man. Young Guitar rocked, man, if you could get your hands on that. Sad Gamer Dad says, the biggest regret, I miss seeing Yngwie live with Joe Lynn Turner singing for him in 1989, because it was on my first day of driver's ed. Oh, man.
Magic days, man. Magic days.
It's my all-time favorite. This is from Lead Farmer showing Iron Maiden, Yngwie Malmsteen, 2018. So, and it was an exciting time for guitar players, because there was, and for me, especially back then, I was so into conspiracy. I was so into UFOs, and sitting in my bedroom, if I wasn't at band rehearsal, I'm home practicing guitar and reading about UFOs and conspiracy theory. But I was able to do my own thing with the bedroom door closed and get those things going at the same time. Was it the same for you?
I was just going to say, dude, too bad we didn't know each other back then, because I was doing the exact same thing.
Right.
I was doing I started reading Bud Hopkins books, and the guy downstairs, he had internet, and he was pulling off all these schematics from Bob Lazar, and I was just like, wow, what is this stuff? And I just dove right in. That was it for me.
What was the moment? I just bring up Yngwie Malmsteen and these guitar players. Do you remember back then what was the one UFO case that grabbed you?
Yeah, I think it was watching Communion. It was when I watched Communion.
Right.
That totally just touched me so much. That meant so much to me, and that's really what did it for me, is after seeing Communion.
Yeah, you bring up a very interesting point. The first time that I saw the movie, right, Communion, Christopher Walken, I think I had a week or two of nightmares, like some really bad dreams, especially that first night. That movie scared the crap out of me. That movie was not a fun movie for me to watch, and it really, really affected me. And this is what is strange. You can't watch it now. It's not on any streaming service. It's not. No, you can't buy it. You can't. It is not there. I challenge anybody to find Communion right now and send me the link, because I've tried to watch it. I've been hanging out with for Whitley now for 5 or 6 years, and every time I hang out with Whitley, I come on, I'm like, man, I want to watch Communion.
Yeah.
And I try to find it, can't find it. Cannot find it. Yeah.
That is so weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. Very strange. Now, what about this? We're going to be headed towards a break, and I want to set up for when we return. I know that you had your experience in 2014. We're going to talk about that. But prior to that, as a kid, did you have any UFO sightings? Were your parents into this? Was there any influence from the family?
What happened was I actually had a UFO experience in the year 2000 that took place up in Huntsville, Ontario, with my bandmates. We went swimming in the lake one night, and it was a clear, starry night with a full moon. And our singer, who doesn't believe in UFOs, he went into the sauna, and then my drummer and I were out there. And then all of a sudden, we heard this strange kind of sparkling sound, like a firecrackers. And then we look up at the sky, and there is this object that's hurtling towards us that was the same diameter as the moon and had flames all shooting around the sides of it. And its trajectory was heading right for us, like right to our heads. And I remember hearing that sound as it was flying right at us, and it should have killed us because it was heading right for us. It wasn't like it fell out of the sky like a meteor. It was like right over our heads immediately. And then it was just like, here's, and all of a sudden there was a flash, and it was gone, and it was peaceful and quiet. And we just went, whoa, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
Was that a UFO?
Yeah, what the heck was it?
Well, that's the whole thing. We didn't understand at the time. We both wanted to have a UFO experience, and all of a sudden it was happening. And I'm watching this thing flying towards us really quickly, and all of a sudden there's a flash, and it's gone. I didn't even blink, and we both went, what happened? And we didn't really talk about it the next day. We just kind of took it as a weird thing. It would be 13 years later, after my UFO incident of 2014, when I started to reanalyze that situation. And then the guys, I did a radio interview, and the guys were talking about, when they described what missing time was.
Right.
They said, yeah, it's like a bad movie edit. And that's all of a sudden when that hair on my arm stood up, and realized, oh my God, that's what happened. I was like watching this thing. I didn't even blink, and it was like somebody hit the next chapter on the DVD, movie, and I missed the best part of the movie. I realized that I had some kind of, abduction. Something happened.
What about your bandmate? What did he say?
He kind of remembers the same thing as me, but his details are just a little bit different. And I can't remember what he said, but he was there too. Like he was a witness to this whole thing too. And
he was the bass player.
He was the drummer.
Oh, the drummer.
Yeah, he was the drummer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that counts then. But if it was the bass player, it wouldn't count. So. But I kid everybody. It's just a joke. I kid, not really, but I kid. But it was the drummer, and I only bring that up because guitar players think one way, singers, or another. Bass players, they only hang out with other bass players, by the way, and then drummers, everybody's got their own little personality, right? And so if you got your whole band there and they all see the same thing, you're going to have 4 different opinions about what went down. And hearing a drummer's opinion, I'm very interested in. So does he still talk about it today? Are you guys still in touch?
We are still in touch. He's had many UFO encounters because he's as much of a, studies them as much as I do. He actually quit the band to study crop circles full time, and he was going to sites and stuff like that. And, so he was very, very avid. He also did crazy stuff too. Like he built his own Tesla coil in the basement. And then he built these these anti-gravity things. It was like toothpicks with tin foil around, like in a triangle, attached to an old computer monitor for juice. And then all of a sudden he pressed a button, and there was this plasma stream that was going around the tin foil, and it was levitating off the ground. So he did all these weird science experiments all the time. It was pretty crazy.
Oh man, I'm loving these pictures. Oh, guess what? We're going to take a break right here. 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, Rita and I went to go see Al Di Meola and Steve Vai play together at a little nightclub down the street. I mean, how crazy is that, man?
Wow.
Yeah. I posted some pretty crazy pictures. And up close and personal, man, with the EVO gem. It was just sitting right there in a stand, and I could have reached out and touched it, but I didn't.
He would have killed you.
Yeah, but I took some really great pictures. I'm talking about a nightclub. There was probably, I don't know, Rita, if she's listening, how many people do you think were there? 100, maybe 150. It wasn't. No, it was dinner and drinks and Al Di Meola and Steve Vai. It was trippy, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun. Let's take our break right here, Kevin. We'll be right back tonight. Kevin Estrella, Pyramids on Mars. It is night 3 of UFO Week here on Fade to Black. I'll be right back after this short break. All of Kevin's links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. All right, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with me. We'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, UFO Week, Night 3. Kevin Estrella is here. Guitar player for Pyramids on Mars. Radio host. It's going to be a great night. And check this out. So Kevin, I'm watching Twitter, right? Everybody's Yngwie comments and how they're big, they're big fans. How cool is that, right? To have the Fade to Black, the Fadernauts understand what we're talking about right now. And it got me thinking. You want me to tell you a quick Yngwie story?
Love it. I'd hear it. Lay on.
Okay. All right. So, 1985. I've got my hair, my long hair, right? My Sunset Strip, Aquanet hairband hair. And I go to get my hair cut at this pretty famous long hair salon in Pasadena. And I go and I sit down and the guy that owns the shop, he's cutting my hair, a cool guy. And I'm sitting there, talking, blah, blah, blah. And his assistant comes in. She goes, okay, Yngwie's manager just called. He's going to be here in 15 minutes. And he goes, okay, prep that chair right there. And he points next to where we are. And he says, prep that chair. And I'm looking in the mirror like, what? Right?
Yeah, no kidding.
What? And everything just slowed down, and he's just cutting my hair, and we're talking, and I can't even think, man. And sure enough, man, 15 minutes later, man, in walks Yngwie, sits down in the chair next to me, looks at me in the mirror, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, "Hey, man." I go, "Hey, man, what's going on? Nothing. What's going on with you? Nothing." And I'm like, holy crap. And now, okay, so that was what, 35 years ago. And I don't remember much, but anyway, so I'm done. And I get up and I go do my thing and I walk outside and there's this, like, I don't even know how to describe the color, almost like mint green or yellow Jaguar convertible sitting out front and with the top down. And I went, I bet you that's his car. Man, Yngwie. But yeah, there's my Yngwie story. There you go.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty
That's
cool.
wild.
It was pretty cool. Yngwie's manager just called. He's going to be here in 15 minutes.
Can you believe he has to get his manager to book his hair appointment?
I guarantee it. Yeah, you would too. Don't lie. Don't lie. Real quick before we get back to UFOs, what's your main guitar?
I would say since I bought it, my signature guitar is now my main guitar. That is my main guitar now.
And
that's
3 single coils.
3 single coils or active single coils.
Right.
It's the ultimate super Strat. Alex Lifeson built this guitar back in the 80s with a company in Aurora, Ontario, and they built these signature guitars. They only made 500 of them. He played it on the Hold Your Fire tour album, which was a huge influence on me, and in the Show of Hands live DVD, where you actually see him playing the signature guitar. And I just fell in love with that sound. That was actually my first Rush concert, was Hold Your Fire, and I was so influenced by that I had to have that guitar. So,
it totally changed his tone, and I was so happy to. I thought that he was going to go all Strat after that. Before that, it was all Les Pauls, and it was something I thought, okay, all right, he's jumping on it. And then it was kind of weird when he went back and started playing the Les Pauls with the Floyd Rose, right? The Alex Lifeson model. So he kind of had the best of both worlds there, where he jumped, he dipped his toe in the Strat water for a minute and then kind of came back out and went over and had that, which I want to get one of those. I would love to get one of the Alex Lifeson Les Pauls. Those are pretty cool. How many Strats do you have? You a big Strat guy? I know. I've seen you play one.
Yeah, I've got an Yngwie Malmsteen Strat, which I built myself.
I've seen that one, and that one's scalloped. Did you scallop it yourself?
Actually, I ordered that neck from China, but it was unfinished.
Right.
And so when I got it, I sanded it down, and I completely varnished it myself. So I got like an antique, the antique varnish. And it's got like 25 coats on it, and then super gloss. So I did the whole neck myself, and I'm really proud of that. How it turned out. It's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, I've got one of those too, but I haven't scalloped the neck yet. But I've got the Yngwie pickups in it, and the Seymour Duncans. And I've put the Yngwie pickups in just about everything that I have. That single coil. Then I don't tell anybody, they're just, I swap the covers so they don't know, right? That those are Yngwie pickups in there. But, so I've got the classic, Olympic white, 74 Strat, it's, it's pretty cool. Maple neck. That thing plays beautifully, but, I'm going to scallop it at some point. I'm going to do it myself and see what happens. But I've got to do it. So
I love the scallop neck. I love it. Just love it so much. Like playing on air, and your vibrato is so much controlled. It changes the guitar totally. And I'm very comfortable playing a scallop neck.
Yeah, I back in the 80s when Neil Moser was building all of my guitars for me, I would have him put on like bass frets. Right. And I wouldn't scallop, but I would get these massive frets on the guitars. So everything that I have now, I don't have anything with small frets. Everything that I'm looking around.
Big jumbo frets.
Yeah. The bigger, the better, man. I don't like touching the fretboard at all. I prefer maple necks, but I've got a mix, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. I've got 9 rosewood guitars in here. I didn't even think I had that many. Rosewood when I prefer maple. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me turn around. 7, 8, 9 maples and 8 rosewoods here in the studio. Wow, I didn't realize it was 50-50. I thought everything was maple. Yeah, it's kind of it's just if they play right, they play right. Right.
Yeah.
So now let's now that I got that out of the way, I don't know how we got so far back into it, and I'm sure we'll swing back. What happened in 2014?
Oh my God! Well, it was a life-changing moment, but actually, it was only the catalyst for. That was basically the calling card, but what happened 8 months after that incident is when everything came together, when the synchronicities took place. It's a crazy story, and I always tell it. So basically, it was August 21st, 2014. I put my kids to bed, and I go out into my deck, and I live in Hamilton, which is a city of about 500,000, and our house is in a very suburban neighborhood. We live it's very heavily populated. We're just off of the main street of Upper James and the main here, where the main strip is. So it's very, very. It's not like it's a non-well-known area. It's like it's metropolis. And so I get on my deck, and then my neighbor on my right-hand side had this tree, and all of a sudden this object started coming out from behind the tree, and it was only like 100, maybe 100 yards away. It was so close, and it was only like maybe 125 feet off the ground. And at first I thought it was a meteor, because when it came around out of the tree, it was orangish red, and it was glowing like hot coals, but it had this mist that was coming off the top of it and out of the bottom of it. And then when it finally came out from behind the tree, it was a disc. And I'm looking at this thing, and it's moving like the speed of a helicopter just across the distance of my backyard. And I'm looking at it going, what is that?
How big was it?
What the F is that?
Yeah. How big was it?
It was about, I would say, probably at least 40 feet in diameter.
Wow.
And maybe 15 feet, tall. And honestly, if I had a rock, I probably could have thrown and hit it. It was that close. And it was only like 100 feet off the ground in a suburban neighborhood over subdivision. And the other thing about this thing, Jimmy, that was so crazy about it, and I didn't pick it up until 2 weeks later, it was two-dimensional. So it had height, it had width, but it had no depth. It looked like looking at a solar eclipse. If you can imagine, picture a solar eclipse.
Wow.
But then turn that into like look at the side view of a UFO, like a disc. That's what it looked like. It looked like a hole in the sky. And so it moves just the distance of my backyard only, and then it goes south towards Bimbrook. But then as it's turning away from me, the glowingness of it, I found out what it was. It was actually plasma. It was completely covered in plasma. And as it was turning away, that plasma stream slowly faded away to the point where this UFO was just a black object. It had no light whatsoever from the back end of it. When I saw its back, it was black, and it was actually kind of oblong. It wasn't a complete circle. It was a little bit oblong. It was really wild. But simultaneously, as it was turning, it had this swirling vortex that was kind of creating in the front of it, like an umbrella. And it was like almost like I think it looked like it was like creating a portal, and it just kind of flew away out of the distance. So I was completely freaked out. I didn't even know what I was looking at until after it was gone, and realized, oh my God, I think I just saw a UFO. And I filled out a report to MUFON. And it would be almost 8 months later before I would find out what would actually transpired. So it was the summer of 2015, and I found out there was this UFO. It was the Alien Cosmic Expo, the very first UFO conference in Ontario in Brantford. And they had a big article in the newspaper, and they had the whole lineup of who was speaking, and I was really excited, and I opened it up, and I see, oh, Stanton Friedman's going to be there. That's awesome. I've seen some of his videos. But then it was when I saw one of the guest speakers, Grant Cameron, and what Grant Cameron was talking about. That's when the hairs on my arm stood up. Because at this point, I had already released my first CD, Pyramids on Mars, and I was using my music as a catalyst to help, to basically, raise consciousness of the UFO and ET phenomenon. I was already doing this. And then it said, Grant Cameron's talking about musicians and extraterrestrials and how extraterrestrials are contacting musicians to raise consciousness and frequency on the planet.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is about me.
Yeah. I remember it was probably around that time, 2014, 2015, when Grant wrote that book. I went to go, he might have been on the show, but I went to go see him speak here in LA about the book. And it was pretty well done and pretty well researched by Grant. And it was an eye opener for me. I didn't realize, because I always look at the bands that influenced me. I don't necessarily know a whole lot about, bands that I'm not into, if you know what I mean, especially about the UFO subject. But he's going down the list, and I was like, wow, I just didn't realize any of this. Oh, I forgot to bring up, speaking of bands and UFOs, you got the best, man. You got Triumph, right? And was Triumph an influence? And they were, especially when you go back to like Allied Forces, that album to me was all about ET and conspiracy. No?
I hadn't checked out the lyrics. I don't know. I used to listen to Triumph way back in the day, yeah. I used to play some of their stuff too. There was actually one time where we played a gig in downtown Toronto, and Rick Emmett was actually playing an acoustic set upstairs, and they shut our concert down below because we were too loud. And so when we finally got on stage, we were so pissed off that we opened up playing Follow Your Heart.
I went through the same experience with Rick Emmett. That's really funny, an acoustic thing. Okay, so back to this sighting. Yeah. When you say 2D, I'm picturing. Are you saying it was flat, like a picture, like 2D?
Like it didn't have any depth to it. Like you'd think you'd see a disc and you'd be able to see at least part of it coming out towards you, but no, it was just flat. It was like completely two-dimensional.
How do you explain that?
I don't know, but I do remember somebody had posted a picture of a UFO picture. It was supposed to be a UFO over a military base, with something that had to do with it was checking out the ballistic missiles. But that was the first time that I ever saw a UFO that looked exactly like what I saw. It was glowing orangish red. It too was two-dimensional from the way it looked, just from the plasma stream. So it's hard. It's when you see something like this, it's displaying physics that don't meet what we are normally seeing, what we expect to see. And that's why when I saw this thing, I didn't even know I was looking at a flying saucer, because I'd never seen anything that displayed physics like this. And I was, honestly, Jimmy, I'd always hoped my whole life to see a UFO. After that incident happened, I was distraught for 2 weeks. I was so upset because it didn't fit into my reality. It didn't fit in. The physics didn't fit into my reality. I didn't know things could be, covered in plasma. I didn't know things could be two-dimensional. And why was it waiting for me? That was the whole thing. It showed up when I stood out there. And that's the thing that I found out, 6 months later, because I ran into Stu Bundy of MUFON, who took my report, and he said it was one of the most authentic sightings they had come up across, and it was my description of the plasma stream disappearing when it turned. He said that's when we realized you were looking at an actual physical object. But then I said to him, okay, well, how many other people reported that night? There must have been like dozens, because it was like in the city of Hamilton. And he said, well, that's the thing. Nobody else reported it. Nobody else saw it. You were the only one. I'm like, that's impossible.
How did it?
I was freaked out.
Yeah, totally. How did it exit?
it came across my backyard, and just as it got over my my shed, it was turning and going south. So it was moving away from me. So its asin was facing towards me, and then it just kept going off into the distance until I couldn't see it anymore.
Okay, so when it made the turn, because it was two-dimensional, was it flat? Like a quarter, like a coin?
No, at that point it was three-dimensional. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay. At that point, when I saw that it no longer had light, but it was just a black object, that's when I saw that it was oblong. So it was kind of like stretched out. It wasn't like a circle. It was like more like oval, like an egg.
Wow, that's an incredible sighting.
From the bottom.
And so it just flew away. It didn't phase out. It stayed physical.
It stayed physical. Yeah.
And I want to jump to the other side, to the beginning of it. Did it remain physical, or did it phase in? I mean, how did it appear as you were observing it?
It came from right behind a tree.
Right.
Like it literally was hiding behind the tree, waiting for me. That's what it seemed like.
Right.
Because I get onto my deck and now I'm looking around and there's nothing there. And then it was right behind this tree. And it was a big tree, but the thing was, like, it wasn't in front of the tree, or it wasn't from at the side. It was literally right behind the tree. How was it just I happened to be there at the same time that it was popping out to come to visit me, to meet me? Like it was waiting for me.
No, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm glad you're sounding as crazy as I do, right? Because you can't, something like this, when it happens, and it happens the way that it happens, and you're being honest, you're just saying what happened, and it sounds nuts, but things like this happen.
It does.
Now,
same story. I can't make it up.
Right. So the craft is too big to hide behind the tree, right? Like me, I'm too big to hide behind a tree. So it's obviously too big to hide behind the tree, but it appears on the other side. It just starts to appear and coming out from behind the tree, but you don't see the other half of the craft on the other side of the tree, right? Is that what happened?
No. Exactly. It was like I get on my deck and I'm just standing there, and the tree's there, and then it just comes out from right behind the tree. So it was waiting there.
Yeah, it's almost like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
like
much.
a cartoon. Like a cartoon. The vibe that happened at that moment, did you have anything conscious or mental between you and the craft? Was there any communication? Were you afraid?
No, I didn't have any communication. I was absolutely mesmerized. I was floored. It made no sound, and I was confused, because when it came out, I thought at first it was a meteor that was coming into the Earth's atmosphere, but then I realized, wait, no, this thing's really, really close. Oh my God, it's really close. And then when it came into full view, it just took its time going across the sky, just really slow, like, hello, I'm here, hello. And I was just standing there in absolute awe. My jaw dropped, and I'm just like, I didn't know what I was looking at. I honestly didn't. I was just taking it in. I didn't blink.
What happened? What happened after that? Like that night and the nights after?
Actually, Jimmy, it was what happened 10 days before.
Okay.
That was really interesting.
What happened?
10 days before, I had this major telepathic incident happen. So it was a Sunday evening, and I'm doing dishes, and all of a sudden I have this thing just shoots into my mind, and I'm seeing the end of the movie of Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams.
Right.
The one with the movie where he plays the android who lives for years, 100, 200 years, and decides he wants to die. And so he has himself unplugged, and he's lying in bed with that sad smile as the camera's fading away, as the life is leaving his body. I saw that so vividly, and I was so taken back. I don't know why, but that is what I saw burning into my soul. I was like, oh my God, I got to watch this movie right now. I feel so sad. I feel so desperate and so tired. This is horrible. I have to watch this movie right now. Jimmy, it was the next day, which was August 11th. That was the day that Robin Williams took his life.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. But yeah, I don't have words for that. When things like that happen, most people ignore it, right? Or they're in denial about it. What we have to do, and do this more often, is just stop and start asking questions. Why, why did that movie pop up? Why did I watch it last night? Why was I so drawn? There's something going on here. And you need to just stop and try to not only get the questions answered, but not forget the moment. You have to stay in the moment. You cannot just let it go and dismiss it like it's nothing.
Yeah. I think it was honestly Robin Williams was in absolute distress, and I picked up on his that telepathic message, and it hit me so hard. It was like Alderaan being blown up, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's like all messed up. That's exactly how it felt. And when I found out that he had died, I stopped and grabbed my wife at the time and I said, "Oh my God, I've got telepathy, or some kind of claircognizance. This is no joke." And I that was when I was convicted that, oh my God, I have this ability. It was actually already happening when I was writing my first album, and all this crazy telepathic stuff was happening where I would phone somebody and they said I was just talking about you, or I'd think about somebody and they would phone me. It was happening all the time, and I finally realized that I had telepathy, but I didn't put it in conjunction with the fact that I was writing my first album, which is a telepathic album. I'm playing at a telepathic level, but we'll talk about later. And it was all connected. It was actually Art Bell's assistant at the time who she wanted to have me on the show, and she was asking me all these questions, and all of a sudden I put together, realizing my telepathy was developing or spiking while I was making this album. I didn't even think about it until she brought it up.
Yeah, very interesting.
But anyway.
Yeah, and we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break right here. I'll tell you something interesting. I got an email from you. This is a couple of years ago. And you were on my mind, and I went and listened to some of your stuff. And later on that day, so your email comes in out of the blue, right? Okay. And then Jennifer Batten texted me, and she said, check out my new
neck illusion.
Yes. Right. So I said, okay, all right, I'll check it out. She goes, I was thinking of you, and whatever. So I go and I click, because it was like some ET thing, her design. It was really cool. And I go and I click, and there it is, featured artist Kevin Estrella. right there, boom, right on the screen. And I'm there because of Jennifer Batten. And I'm like, Kevin, what a weird synchronicity. What were the odds of that happening, like within 5 minutes of each other? It was a trip, man.
I know it.
See, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore that stuff. You can't ignore it. Let's take our break right here.
No, you can't.
No, you can't. You just can't do it. Tonight, night 3.
Can't make this shit up.
No, you can't. Night 3 of UFO Week here on Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Kevin Estrella of Pyramids on Mars. All of Kevin's links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. More with Kevin and some UFOs and guitars when we come back after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
Including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, the Planet UFO Week here on Fade to Black tonight. Kevin Estrella, guitarist for Pyramids on Mars. And Kevin, you like that? You like that bumper music? You like that bumper music?
I do. Yeah, who is that?
That's me.
Really?
No.
Nice.
No, that ain't me. That ain't me. That's Doug. That's Doug Aldrich.
Okay,
I'll tell you the funny thing about that record, though. All right, the tones are incredible. The drums and the way it's recorded and the guitar, it's just magic. But are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
We recorded it in a bedroom.
Really?
Straight up, man. Straight up. The amps were in Doug's closet, man, underneath his clothes, hanging. The drums were set up at the foot of Doug's bed. No, I'm not making this up, man. It just was done.
Yeah.
Done in a bedroom. But the thing is, if the songs are right, they're right. And if you take the time to mic and get tones and do it correctly, it's about being good musicians, you know, and good songs. So.
Yeah, the same thing with Pink Floyd. I mean, the last two albums were written on a boathouse.
Well, yeah.
Jeez.
But that's Pink Floyd. Yeah, they could write. Yeah. They could write in an outhouse, and it wouldn't matter. So true, so true. But it's always about the songs, and I do want to talk about that. Let's start with this. Where did the name? Well, it's kind of obvious, but I want your story behind this. Pyramids on Mars. Where'd the name come from?
Well, actually, the name came from, I bookmarked that name from, believe it or not, it was one of my favorite drummers, Virgil Donati.
Oh, yeah.
Who, he played with Planet X, you know, and amazing player. And so it was his solo album, Serious Young Insects, The third song on that is the song "Pyramids on Mars," and I love that album. And I bookmarked that name. I said, that's what I want my solo project to be called, is Pyramids on Mars. So, but it was also had to do with the fact that I already knew that there was pyramids on Mars with the D&M pyramids, in Cydonia and that region.
Mhm.
And that was a perfect catalyst and image to wake people up, basically, that this is real, that there's a suppressed history here. There's an ET history to our planet and to Mars, and people need to wake up. But also the power of the pyramid, which is a universal symbol of it's a power generator. It's Egypt. It's sacred geometry. It's like, this is perfect. This is everything all in one, and with a mystery of pyramids on Mars. So it's like perfect name.
Did your guitar playing and songwriting start to change after 2014?
I was in a band for many years, and we wrote as a band always. Like, we would hit the Ghetto Blaster recorder, and we'd start jam out ideas, and we work as a band to write songs. And then after I couldn't do that anymore, and I ended up, I had to do everything myself out of necessity, and I was terrified. I was scared. I didn't know what to do and how to do it. And with a little bit of encouragement from my brother, I got recording software and drum machines and virtual amplifiers and synthesizers and guitar, and I started to write songs from scratch, and the ideas started to come, and I would come up with a really cool rhythm guitar riff, and then the drums would come in next, and the bass would come in, the synthesizers, and then always the last thing to come in would be the lead melodies and guitar solos. And I started to develop this process for new songwriting. And after a while, it's like I wasn't even really writing the songs were writing themselves. It's just like, I just felt like I was behind the wheel, and the songs were just coming together, and they were just kind of creating themselves. And that actually ended up becoming, when Grant Cameron was talking about song downloads, and I was understanding exactly where he was coming from about how many musicians will, they don't know where the music comes from. It comes in a dream or whatever, and the music is just there. And I was experiencing that already, But even it even goes crazier than that, honestly, Jimmy. There was one song, my first song on Echo Cosmic, Dream Division. I didn't write that song. That song literally came to me in a dream. So I have this dream that I'm watching MTV, and this guy is interviewing Joe Satriani, who's sitting at a recording console, and he says, "Yeah, I heard you're working on a new album. Can you play anything for us?" "Oh yeah, man, we got this new, we got a couple bed tracks here," and they start playing this song, and I'm thinking, "Wow, this sounds really cool. God, I wish I could write something like this." Wait a second, Joe never wrote this song. And so I wake up, and I get downstairs, I start tracking out this song, and Joe never wrote this song. It came to me in a dream. It's like it didn't exist. I didn't even. There was no conscious process whatsoever. Literally, it came out of the cosmos.
Did you give him a writing credit?
I thought about it, yeah,
but oh man,
no,
well. See, this is the thing: is that everybody gets writer's block, and when you're writing songs, sometimes it can get a little bit terrifying, where you start to even doubt yourself as a musician. It's like, man, I can't write. I can't. Everybody else can write, but me. We all go through that. And then when the songs do happen, I think any musician will tell you, and I've had this conversation so many times with some of the best out there, where they will say, dude, it wrote itself. It was done in 5 minutes. I've spent months on songs that never got finished, and they were crap. But our biggest hit was written, in 3 minutes, and we were done. And that's usually how it happens. And so for you, if it starts flowing out like this, coming to you in dreams, were you channeling? Were you getting downloads as well?
Yes, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because there was a Ponte who you know quite well, for Sue Walker and White Otter, who I've worked with for a long time, and Teeny in particular has been teaching me for several years about how that I was already playing music at a telepathic level, and she was helping me to develop it. And she talked about the Edge of the Black, which is my my latest album, and that actually is their concept of where the music comes from. The same concept of what Grant Cameron was talking about, where you shut down the analytical brain and you just tap into the collective consciousness, and these music songs comes. Tina explained it from their point of view that that's exactly what's happening. Is that when you get into a creative state and your brainwaves slow down to alpha theta, that's when you're at your highest telepathic level. And she says, go to the edge of the black of the universe, turn around and play the next song that comes to you. And what she means by that is that you will actually tap into the collective consciousness, and you will be writing the music with the universe. It'll flow through you. You're adding your emotional interpretation to it, and the music will just come. You don't have to think about it. You have to write the music. All you have to do, Jimmy, is get out of the way.
So how do you go through the process, though? Because that I understand getting to the point, but now you've got to continue the connection and then get it recorded. You have to archive it somehow.
Yeah.
How do you continue the process?
Always keep your cell phone next to you.
Right.
And when you come up with a really cool idea, just record it right there on your phone immediately. The initial, the initial whatever comes to you. So I've done that for so many songs. In fact, actually, I'm working on a brand new album right now just because of this whole COVID thing. What happened, Jimmy, was I end up writing all this new music. Actually, what happened is, people are going to think I'm crazy, but this is true. My Gibson Les Paul is detuned, so the low D's or the E's drop to a D, like tool tuning, and then I drop that down a whole step lower to low C, and that's how I played it with my old band Shatter Instinct. I pick up my guitar one day and I'm playing, and it sounds so rich, and I start all this new music just starts writing itself, all these new songs, tons of new songs, and I check the tuning of the guitar, and it was like completely tuned down, like it was different tuning. And I check out my tuner, and it was low A sharp. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Who messed with my tuning?
Right.
It took me 2 days to figure out what had happened. It was Grayson, one of the Ponty, came over to my place. He retuned my Les Paul. He dropped it to a baritone tuning.
Right.
Now I record everything at 432 hertz.
Let me stop you right there. We'll get back to 432. Okay, not an issue there. Okay, we'll get back to that. But you've made these references, but the audience may not know who you are talking about. The Ponty and what is going on there in New Mexico. So real quick, who are you talking about?
The Ponty are Zetas from Zeta Reticuli 2 who reside under the Sandia Mountains in Albuquerque, New Mexico. There's three main three main bases on the Earth where our extraterrestrial outputs. One of them is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, under the Sandia Mountains, and that's where the Ponty reside. Sue Walker and Otter are both professional telepaths. Their leader Tilcom made contact with them, and everything kind of happened from there. So the Ponty, they're actually here to prepare us for official first contact, which is next year, in this the fall of 2021. I've been working with Sue and Otter for years. The Ponty visit me all the time. I have ET visits all the time. They've given me downloads like crazy. They've actually physically enhanced my consciousness, and they come over here and Grayson retuned my guitar.
Okay,
I'm not making this up.
Okay. So let's stay on this. I'm right with you. So Grayson is one of the Ponty. He's an ET that plays guitar, right?
He doesn't play guitar, but
which
Radar
one is
plays guitar,
Radar? Radar, that's his name. Radar's the guitar player.
Yeah.
Okay, and they reside in the Sandia Mountains in Albuquerque. You are in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So, but they are visiting you in Canada now. When they visit, is this physical or is this something interdimensional and there's something else happening? How do the visits occur?
Well, that's another good question. They're physical, and sometimes they are. I will wake up in the morning and I will have like my bed will be full of sand, or red dust that looks more like Albuquerque, New Mexico dust, where they pick me up and they've taken me back there. I think I've been picked up by at least probably 50 times by them. It's continuous, but I don't remember anything of what happened. But I have strange artifacts that I've found in my bed, and I collect all of it. But they also come here in physical. The one time I was actually conscious and actually saw them was PETA. He visited me, and Rita was visited by PETA. I know that. And PETA showed up in my condo.
My Rita?
Yes, your Rita.
My Rita?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
She hasn't told me about this. Okay, all right. There's a conversation. Yeah, there's the conversation after the show tonight. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, so back to this. This is very interesting. So Grayson detuned your Les Paul.
Yeah, but what he did though, I had to actually download a frequency generator to find out what frequency he tuned my guitar to, because it was like it didn't make any sense in the frequency. Jimmy, he tuned it to 528 solfeggio frequency, 528 hertz.
Really?
Yeah. I can't make this up.
Yeah, that's crazy. The when you really quick, we're gonna have to go back to the guitar talk. Everybody, just settle down. How did you find out that it was 528? So you plug in your tuner. You're using a digital tuner.
Actually, it was it was a frequency generator. So you actually, it'll play a frequency and it'll label it.
Right.
So I went back to the original recording of the song that I had recorded, made sure that my guitar was in tune with that when I laid down that first song, when I didn't touch the tuning. And I found out until I matched the frequency. And then when it came to 528 hertz, I just was like floored, because I knew that was a sacred frequency, a healing frequency. And I was like, oh my God.
And
my God.
Right. And have you been using, did you say you're also 432?
Yes, all my other guitars are at 432.
I have some cymatic 432 guitar picks. I'm holding them up to the camera right there.
Oh, from Michael Lee Hill.
Yeah, man. Michael Lee Hill. That's a player, man. Michael can play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Michael can play. Yeah. I use one of the I've got a lot of tuners, but my main one, I'll hold it up to the camera. I got the classic, man, the Boss TU-12 with the analog VU, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I prefer. It's got the digital side on it, but I like using the VU meter. It's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been able to, and Michael's been on me about this, and I know that you're a 432 guy, about jumping into the 432 world. And I'm going to pick a guitar and get it set up for 432. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take the plunge. What I do here is certain guitars are a half step down. Right. So there are a certain collection of guitars that need to be that way. Like I have an Eddie Van Halen, the black and white Strat from Van Halen 1, right, with the pickguard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've got that. That's in E flat for Van Halen, right? Okay. You know what I mean? And then other guitars here, they're E flat or they're down a quarter step. It depends on, what type of music and what bands I'm playing with, those guitars. And then the rest of them are straight A440, right? And so one of these guitars is probably going to be one of the 440s. I am going to take it and go to the 432 world and see what that does. The thing is, for me, is that means you're not able to play with music. Right? You're in your own 432 world. You're in your own tuning world. You can't go and right?
True enough. Yeah, like you can't go and play with other musicians, because they'll be tuned at 440.
That's right.
So yeah,
you're in the 432 world. But back to Grayson. So he gets you to 528. What was the feel of the music? It's ET. It's extraterrestrial tuning, dude. Right? What was the feel like?
Huge difference between 432. Yeah, it's totally different. I can't explain to it. It's just this beautiful feeling. The A is actually like the C note is 528 hertz.
Right.
The A note is 444. Okay, they fall into the same scale. So the A is 444 as compared to 432, not 440.
Right.
And there is a difference. You do feel the difference. It just warms your heart.
Does it?
I can't explain it.
Does the instrument itself vibrate differently too, as well?
Well, it did because he tuned it down so low. I mean, low C is very as low as it was when I had it, but then he tuned it down a whole step and a half to low A. So it's really tuned low. I actually had to go out and buy almost a set of jazz strings,
right,
just so that the intonation would stay on with the guitar, because it's not built for that. So yeah, but it stays in tune now with the heavy gauge.
Slappy strings. Slappy.
It could be, but with the heavy gauge, it got rid of that.
Yeah, it tightened it back
plays
up.
well now.
That's amazing. Now, so this Life of Contact now since 2014, and having Grayson and Radar and the crew hanging out with you, and I love this Edge of the Universe. Edge
of the Black.
Yeah, Edge of the Black, and this adventure. Did you end up writing a string of songs right in a row with all of this happening at the same time?
Pretty much. Actually, what happened with this year was, and this is the thing that I find most amazing. Edge of the Black was already a telepathic album, playing at a very high telepathic level.
Right.
And there's actually also tonal language in that album, but I'll get into that story later. Tonal language of the whales that they had taught me is actually incorporated into 2 of those songs in that album. This gets crazy. But anyway, so the tuning with the Les Paul, I ended up writing a whole bunch of new music with it this year. The thing was, Jimmy, I've already recorded 4 of the songs. The songs were recorded in one take. I hit the record button on my phone. I pick up my guitar. I wrote the song in one take. I did not have to change the structure at all. The song came perfectly all together. The verse, choruses, the changes, it just flew. It just flowed. And I went back and realized I didn't have to change a thing. I just have to learn it. I learned the songs the way they were recorded on the very first take.
Now, that's nearly impossible. And there's other musicians that are listening to this right now that are either pissed off that you were able to do that, or they're calling BS. That's the most difficult thing to do, right? And
wait till you hear my next album. Wait till you hear it.
Well,
if you like Tool, oh man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's stay right here for a second before the break. The titles of the songs. Now, I'm assuming, I don't want to get ahead of our skis here, but I'm assuming that you are giving credit to all of this magic happening to extraterrestrials.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yes.
Now, and which I'm fully buying. Okay, I'm sold. Mm-hmm. But what about the titles of the songs? I understand the music side of it, but now you've got to name these songs. Did these songs come with the download? Did you get an extra text file at the end, right?
Like metadata.
Yeah, do you get some metadata? You get it. You get what I'm saying.
You're funny. Yeah, I know. I get it. Yeah. Actually, the songs came, and then the titles came afterwards. It's just like I don't think about it. I just let it come. I just know it, and it'll say, and I just know what the song title is. I try to get out of the way and let the universe just tell me what it is. And so, one song is, it's very Rush influenced, sounds like Rush, and the song's called On Dragon's Wings. Another song I wrote is called Flaley, which was named after this extraterrestrial Arcturian woman who visited me about 2 or 3 months ago. I named the song after her. So that song came. And then this other song, which I'm working on right now, is actually part 2 of my secret space program influence, because I have friends who are part of the SSP. And I've learned a lot about that stuff. So I wrote a song on my album called Nachwaffen. That's on Edge of the Black, which is about the German the German fleet up there in the secret space program.
Mm-hmm.
And the next song that I wrote on this album is called Luftpanzer, which translated is air tanks.
Right.
The Hanabus.
Right.
The Hanabus. This song is about the Hanabus.
The album, did you ever go back? We're going to take a break right here. Steve Vai's album, Alien Love Secrets, right? And now it's such a great, every song on that record. Oh, by the way, Chris Frazier, the drummer on that album with Steve Vai, is the drummer on the tracks that you're listening to in our bumper music. That's Chris Frazier. Those were his drums set up at the foot of the bed. But anyway, that album, did you end up doing a double take back at Vai? Just like, dude, you're channeling this stuff, right? You are alien, because I did. Did you kind of rethink your view of Steve Vai?
I think that he was really he was coming out of the closet at that point, because I know he knows a lot more than what he says publicly.
Right.
And that was his way of kind of secretly saying, wake up, people, this is what it's about. So I know there was a secret in that album.
Yeah, there's something about he's not of this earth. He's just just visiting. I'm serious, dude.
Yeah,
I'm serious. Yeah. And there are so many musicians out there that are just like him, that are very, very special. But I think that when you step outside of the box and you go to the extreme and you find yourself, it's coming from somewhere else, right? It's not of this earth. It's coming. They have the ability, just like yourself, to connect to something else and figure out a way to translate that magic into songs, music, poetry, painting. You know what I mean? But they have the ability to have that connection with their brains.
Yeah. I totally understand it. Yeah, I get it too. I finally am starting to understand it. And so, I love Steve Vai, and I've recorded some stuff afterwards. I listened back and said, God, that sounds like something Steve Vai would play. Like, why is that happening? I'm not that influenced by Steve Vai. I love him, but it sneaks in. Every once in a while, I hear Steve Vai come through my playing. But he definitely is channeled into the higher consciousness. Absolutely no doubt. He's so amazing.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Frank Zappa did the same thing. Let's take a break right here. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Kevin Estrella, guitarist for Pyramids on Mars. We're talking ET, guitar, music, contact, UFOs, all that fun stuff. More with Kevin after this short break. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to getthetea.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's getthetea.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend. Let's face it, you've always wanted to do a sky watch and see your first UFO. Today, it's easy. Just get your own HP7 3B Cobalt Jimmy Church Edition night vision goggles from Hoffman's Optics. This is the same U.S. military system that I use, featuring a Generation 3 blue phosphor image tube. That's right, it's blue, not black and green. This is the only blue system in the world, and it's waterproof, lightweight, combat-proof, simple to use, and ready to go. Hoffman's Optics helped create night vision sky watches, and now you can see what everyone has been talking about each night from your own backyard. Just call 760-231-9929. That's 760-231-9929. You can click on the banners on our site or visit UFOnightvisiongoggles.com. That's UFOnightvisiongoggles.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. Wednesday night, night 3 of our UFO week here on Fade to Black. Tonight, Kevin Estrella, guitarist for Pyramids on Mars. And talking a little guitar, a little music, a little UFO, a little contact. Now let's get back to this contact. You've had a lot of it. You were just saying before the break, and we just kind of blew right through it. But you said, I've had I've had downloads, and they've visited me like 50 times, and I've had and physical, and we just kind of blew all through that. Let's get back to it. When you say 50 downloads, what are you getting downloads of? Obviously music, but what else is coming to you?
Oh man. They've given, like, I know when they've given me a download because the symptoms are always the same. I will go to work, and then by about noonish, I'm starting to feel really sluggish. But then by about 1 or 2 o'clock, my head feels completely like heavy, soggy cotton, and I can't even stay conscious. My head's so heavy, and I'll end up falling asleep at my desk. I have no control of it. And Sue said, you've gotten a download, go home and rest. So I'll get home, and I won't even get to my bed. I'll just lie on the couch, and it feels like a reboot. And it's not even like sleep. It feels like a reboot where you just go into deep consciousness, you're gone, and you are basically your brain's rebuilding itself. A lot of the downloads I was not conscious of that would come later on. The biggest one, though, Jimmy, was 2 years ago. There was someone new to the base. Her name is Thera, and her specialty is in the tonal language of the cetaceans, of the whales and the dolphins. And you have to understand that the whales and dolphins speak a complex telepathic language that tells stories. It's three-dimensional. And I asked, can you teach me this? And she said yes. And so it was about 2 years ago. It was back in April, and I got this massive download, and it took me 3 days to recover from it. I was just gone. It was just like, oh my God, what happened? 3 days of sleeping, of grogginess, of just crazy. And I contacted Sue, and I said, what happened? What was that? And then Tina came on, and she said, well, you wanted the tonal language. We gave you the beginner's course. And I was like, oh my God. It felt like I could see this image of radar trying to stuff a whale's brain into my head. And so they gave me instructions in regards to how to basically unzip this download of tonal language. And so I did the protocols over the summer as I could. Basically they said, go down to Lake Ontario with your guitar, and when the sun's setting, and as the elements are mixing with the fire of the sky and the water and that, let the music play and let it come, and listen to the ripple effects of the notes that you're playing, the length of the notes, and what you're playing, and become very conscious of it. So long and short of it was, it was near Christmas, and I was working on this song Nafwaffen. And I needed this because my music's all instrumental. I needed a good melody line for the main melody, and so I started working on this melody, and I felt like something was coming to me. It's like if there was something deep was coming to me, and I kept working on this melody, and letting it come from the universe of this flowing these notes and this kind of phasing, and it's not quite the bending of the notes are not a full note. It's kind of like halfway, kind of like Steve Vai's, strange tuned guitars. And so I recorded the main melody of this song, na, na, na. And then 20 minutes after I recorded the demo, I get a message from Sue, and she said, Kevin, I was just contacted by Teeny and Thera. They telepathically heard you playing your guitar, 2,000 miles away. And you accessed the tonal language, the ripple, the length of notes. You accessed the tonal language download. I'm like, what? And I was just amazed. So I recorded the song, finally get the final song mixed and mastered, and it was Christmas Eve, and this is the best Christmas present I ever got. I was listening to the song, and after the sixth listen, I heard a translation. I was saying, do you hear me? I was speaking in a tonal language. The music was actually saying words. It was saying, do you hear me? And I stood up and I screamed, oh my God, I'm saying, do you hear me? And then I sat back down, put my head on my lap, and I just cried for 20 minutes. It was the most incredible thing ever happened to me in my entire life. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like, I heard a translation. I don't know how I knew it. I knew with absolute certainty that I was actually saying something in that melody. It was saying, "Do you hear me?"
Now, when you hear the track, do you hear the words? Right?
No, you don't hear the words. There's no words. It's a tonal language.
No, that's what I'm saying. But when you hear that melody in the track, do you remember the words?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, that is
because when you listen to it, it's like it's when you listen to the song, it's very slow at first. It's calm. It's kind of like not really distorted, and it slowly builds up and gets more intense, and then it really kicks in with the distortion and the wah, and it's like, "Do you hear me?" It's getting louder and louder and louder and louder. Like, "Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me?" It's like I didn't realize it when I was writing it. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea. I texted Sue and I said, "Oh my God, there's a translation." I said, "Do you hear me?" That's what I'm saying. And then Sue responded back. She says, "I'm hearing cheering coming from the mountain." They said you're correct, and they're sending the message back to the aquatic stations over in New Zealand. So I was right. I was right.
The downloads, do they ever include technical things? Math, languages, alphabets, symbols. Do you get that as well?
For me, no, nothing like that. It's more. I think it's more subconscious. I don't know how these things come or when the downloads actually unzip themselves naturally. And I'm sure there's a lot more information that it's going to come to me when it's supposed to come. Because I've had memories of conversations with Drudy that afterwards I was thinking, I remember this conversation. Did this conversation take place? And then she'll confirm, yes, the conversation took place. So it's like, why is it unzipping now? So things will happen naturally. And I've also had some other things happen to me more recently where I've accessed new abilities and I didn't know how to do them. I did them by accident. And I realized, oh my God, I must have accessed another download because this has never happened to me in 47 years. So I'm learning more things and more things have happened to me. I don't know how I did them. And now I'm trying to relearn it consciously as to how I did these things to make them happen. So there's a huge world out there of breaking out of the matrix. People have no idea about, my God, this whole conscious universe is more beautiful and more crazy and amazing than you can even imagine. You cannot even imagine how beautiful it is.
Now, what about and staying with this about these downloads, going back to neck illusions and your designs for them. Your designs, and if I'm saying it the wrong way, just tell me. But yours are about alien DNA, right? Basically,
I called it the alien DNA, but actually, what it is, it's a DNA double helix. The design of my guitars was actually a crop circle that formed in Wiltshire, England, in 1997. But what happened was that I had this dream where I'm standing in my backyard of my old house, and these three grays, these three Zetas are standing there, and they're handing me back my Joe Satriani guitar, silver guitar, and in the neck it has that design, but it was green. It had that DNA double helix all the way through the neck, and I was thinking, wow, that's a really cool design for a neck. But there's it's too bad it's too expensive to have an inlay done like that, because I love Steve Vai's original gem guitar with the the one with the twirling vine that goes down.
Yeah, I've got one.
Oh,
yeah, I've got one right here. This is what.
I'm so jealous.
Here, yeah, I've got one right here, just hanging on the wall. This is what he's talking about. If you guys can see, I'm showing it on the camera. See, that's the
there you go.
That
gorgeous guitar.
It is, and I thought originally that I wouldn't be able to play it. Really, you're not supposed to be looking at the neck, right? It's all about feel. But you do like the dots once in a while, just to glance down. And there's no dots on this neck. That's just an inlaid vine up and down the neck. I'm showing that on the camera. Okay, anyway, put this back. How does that work with your alien DNA design?
Neck illusions.
Yeah, for neck illusions. How does that work? Are they individual pieces that fit in between the frets, and then the picture of the wood is part of the decal? So you're not actually seeing the wood anymore. It's actually covering everything between the frets.
It's a complete decal of the design. So it covers the entire fret. It's not a sticker. It's a decal that goes over your fretboard. That neck illusions have. They have this patent for this thing, and it looks amazing.
No, that's what I mean. But
it doesn't fade.
They fit in between the frets.
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
Man.
Yep. Yeah,
they look really, really, really cool. And for everybody that wants to know what I'm talking about, you can go to neckillusions.com and go to. I visit their page all the time, and I'm always looking for cool stuff. Yours is some of the coolest. Jennifer's stuff is really, really cool too as well. But
Steve Vai's stuff is really cool.
Steve Vai's stuff is right there. And what's really cool about this is you don't get to really get bragging rights like this too often. But you go to neckillusions.com, man, and there you are. Right there, top row, front and center, Kevin Estrella. Right?
I know.
Above Steve Vai. That's
I don't know how that happened.
Don't say anything. It'll be our little secret. But yeah, that's really cool. But back to this. So by the way, a bunch of these artists that are here, there's a lot of did you notice a lot of crop circles, a lot of alien, a lot of ET influence on this page?
Sure did. Yeah, it's great.
Mrs. Smith is there. She's been on the show before.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Smith. Yeah.
She's great. She's absolutely amazing. Talk to her a lot. So back to this, staying on this. When you say they're coming to visit me, and then you've had a physical experience at your home, was it Grayson?
Grayson's come over. He's left handprints on my place. I've got pictures of those. I've also had another Ponte handprint on my rail, next to my bed one time. They've moved stuff on me several times because I got an amazing obelisk quartz crystal, which I have sitting in front of my lava lamp. Perfect. I know exactly where it is, and 3 times it's been picked up, looked at, and put down. Not quite right. But I've had the Ponte visit me. They put their hand on my shoulder. I was sleeping. I could feel their hand rest on my shoulder. I have also had other visitations from other star nations, not just the Ponte. So, I've been visited by the Ponte. I've been visited by a reptilian. I was visited by, I believe, we figured that she is Arcturian's peoples, as in she's a blend.
Was she the one you wrote the song, the one you wrote the song about?
Yes.
And that was physical?
Yeah, well, the thing was, they visited me and they do it in a lucid dream state. So what happens is I'll wake up around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I realize that somebody is visiting me because I can feel a presence. So then what I do is I'm in the process. I'll drop consciousness into this lucid state, but it's like lying in bed with your eyes open, and you're fully conscious, fully aware of what's going on. And then they come visit you, and you see them, you hear them, you can touch their skin, and you can feel the temperature. It's like being awake, but you're not. You're in this other conscious state of a lucid state. The other thing is that people will say, "Well, yeah, it's bullshit, man. You're just dreaming." Well, no, I'm not, because they paralyze me before it happens.
How does what do you mean?
Flaley.
Okay, go ahead. Explain.
Yeah. So let's say, well, for Flaley, when she visited me, so I wake up and I drop, I try to get back to sleep, and I'm just about to drop into in that lucid state, and then I do, and then I'm physically choking on the back of my tongue because she paralyzed me. All of a sudden, my body just drops, and my body, I can't have no control of my body, and I'm choking on my tongue like that, right? And so she loosened up the paralysis enough. By the way, people don't get concerned about this paralysis. It's just a safety protocol, so I don't freak out. So then she released it. I was conscious enough to actually regain consciousness to adjust my neck back so that my tongue was hanging there, so I could actually breathe. And then immediately she pulls me right back into the dream, and then I'm basically there. She pops up and she's talking to me, and she's really excited to see me, and it's like we knew each other. And that was the whole crazy thing. It was like when she greeted me, it was like she was like, "It's me," and like, "Hi." So it's like, it was like that's how she greeted me. So it's obviously there's a lot of hidden memories of I've been to places, maybe the Ponte have introduced me to different people, but then they're showing up and they're saying hello, and it's like, wow, man. But she was amazing looking. I mean, she had. The movie Avatar?
Mm-hmm.
The Na'vi, like with the blue skin and the cat-like bioluminescent amber eyes.
Right.
That's what she looked like.
Was there communication?
Oh God, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
What happened? We just kind of I said, "I'm so glad you're here. I'm so honored to have you here. And how did you find me? Like, did you like feel me out or something like that?" And then she gave this girlish laugh, like this, and then I got this telepathic thought from her saying something like, to the extent, "Do you think that all your visitations are due to your own initiative?" And I'm like, huh? I didn't really understand what she said, what she meant by that. And then she looks over at my dresser. And there happened to be like this watch that was on my dresser. Now, this is, mind you, this is a memory that she found inside my head of this broken watch that I know I had. She finds this broken watch, in this state, and she picks up. "Oh my God, is this a watch? This is so cool!" And she puts it on, and she's playing with it, playing with the knobs and stuff, and this broken watch. And she's so fascinated by this broken watch. And I said, "You know what? You can keep it." It's like. And then I asked her, "What's your name?" And she said, "Flaley." And before I had a chance to ask her about her people, I woke up. But oh my God, it was so incredible. It was so wild. She was like in her early 20s, and she had this really amazing energy. She had this beautiful smile, and she was just so animated and so happy to be there. It was just so cool. Now, where was the watch? Did you go to try to find it?
No, I know because I've lost that watch years ago. So what she did was she accessed a memory. Like PETA did the same thing when PETA visited me. Because I know PETA visited Rita, but when PETA visited me in the physical, he did the same thing, where when he came in, he paralyzed me. He picked me up off the couch and held me in his arms like a baby, and then he put me down, and then I'm talking to him, and then it was like he started changing his appearance. It was almost like he was like a green screen, and he changed his appearance to look like this Halloween costume, this stormtrooper Halloween costume that my kids had worn about 3 or 4 years ago. So he accessed a memory inside me of something pleasant, and he just started changing himself into this stormtrooper in front of my very eyes, like a green screen.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
See, and I want you to, by the way, can you stay on? You want to do some overtime?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, okay, let's. Yeah. I'm not ready to end. When you say, I want to be very clear for the audience. When you say he did this right in front of me like green screen, you are saying that he did this right in front of you like on green screen.
Yeah, like he was standing in front of me. He was about the same height as my 7-year-old son at the time.
Right.
And he looks exactly like he does on the cover of Finding E.T. He looks exactly like that. Then he started changing his appearance to make himself look like he thought that he'd feel more comfortable if he looked like a stormtrooper. I guess, I don't know.
And when you say you're talking about
funny.
Star Wars,
yeah, Star Wars, yeah,
right. So now he's got the white plastic armor on.
Yeah, pretty much.
And does he and I've talked to Sue and Otter about this, but English?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, English, right?
He only spoke 2 words to me.
And they were...
And I turned to him, I said, he whispered, he said, "It's PETA."
No.
Yeah.
And is it really that easy? Because I know Sue and Otter, when I had them on the show, and they're just great people, but they were stressing with me, and I've had other people on the show too that have visited with Sue and Otter. That it's just about being an honest person and being for real, and you are going to make the communication if you want to reach out. Is it really that simple?
Well, yeah. I mean, like it's really, you have to practice. If you want telepathy, if you want to connect with extraterrestrials, I'm going to give you the key to the Ferrari. You go to Official First Contact and you download the Telepathy 101 primer. It's that simple. It's about 256 pages, mostly just pictures, but it's a very fast read. But if you work at it, do the protocols, practice at half an hour a day for 100 days, you will have contact. The contact will be at your level of comfort, because when you start communicating telepathically, you're communicating at an emotional wavelength, but it's much deeper than that. It's your deep subconscious thoughts of how deep telepathy actually goes. So you can't hide. You can't hide in a telepathic with telepathic star nations. It's very transparent, and that's why we need to learn telepathy, because our human speech really is so it just doesn't cut it. It's like 5% of what they actually can communicate telepathically, because there's emotions behind it, there's backstory, there's everything. Telepathy is so much more advanced, and I've worked at it myself, and I've had success meeting with other star nations because I've communicated with them, and they've visited me, so it's possible.
Is it scary at first, Kevin? And are you able to? Is there an on-off switch? Right, if you don't want somebody to be reaching out and entering, right, your soundscape, your brain, are you able to shut it off?
Well, when you are doing, I suggest for beginners, it's always good to practice first with other people. To get feedback. Practice telepathy first with other people who are interested in working on telepathy. I suggest working on that. When you're communicating with the collective consciousness, you need to be careful with your protocols in regards to who you want to have communication with. That you want to be communicating with someone who's on the same vibrational length as you, who is right-minded, who is peaceful. You don't want to be attracting negative energy, negative entities. So because there are some out there as well. I've never ever encountered anything negative myself, but I know people who have had not very nice experiences, but I'm not them, so I don't know what their experiences are or who they are, or fear or whatever. I lost I have no fear. I lost fear a long time ago. That's one emotion I do not have. So I'm very well protected in my own energies, and I protect myself as well with my condo. I have crystals throughout my condo. I've smudged my place. I've set protocols in regards to who's allowed in my territory. So I've set myself up in a sacred bubble, and I also have asked for the Sasquatch to watch over me too, to be protecting me.
Let's take our break right here, and then we'll come back and get into some overtime. Our guest tonight, Kevin Estrella, guitarist for Pyramids on Mars. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight is night 3 of UFO Week here on Fade to Black. Kevin, check out these licks right here. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Okay, this is disturbing. Okay, Kevin, check this out. On Twitter right now, I just did a retweet. I have no idea. Mark Toronto over in Australia just posted a picture of me that I have never seen in my life. It is me in my bedroom in Pasadena in 1985, and I have never seen this picture before. This is disturbing. Who was posting these pictures on the web, and who took this picture of me? I have never seen this picture. And
That's weird.
Yeah, and it's my old Strat that I just put a new neck on. The Strat neck is off. It's got an Explorer hockey stick, right? Eddie Van Halen neck on it.
Yeah.
It's got my old cutaway pick guard, one volume knob. It's not a locking. This is crazy. Where did you get this picture? I haven't seen a picture of this guitar in 35 years. What the heck, man? In my bedroom? Where did you, Toronto, where'd you get this picture, man? This is disturbing at every level. This is crazy.
You think it's a Mandela effect? You think it could be a Mandela effect?
I don't have any pictures of my bedroom in Pasadena. I've never, I don't know. I don't remember this picture being taken. And this particular guitar, it was only in this state that it's in here. It's before the stripes were on it and everything else. This particular, it was like this for like 2 months. This is early, man. This is like 85, 84, 85. And, wow. Somebody posted this on the net somewhere. Who Toronto, this is disturbing, man.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Are you looking at it? Can you see the picture? Are you on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter at the moment because I'm actually on my phone.
Okay.
Talking to you.
All right. Well, I've got to post it up there on Twitter for everybody to go and check out. But that is some ink you see on me too. Yes, that's one of my tattoos. It's my only tattoo. But that is a crazy picture. Wow. Look at that. That is crazy. Man, I miss that guitar. That's the one that got away. I sold it to a friend of mine, and it was just one of those things. I sold it, and I wish I had that thing back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so anyway, wow, Toronto. I'm not playing around here, dude. Where did you find this picture? Search Google for image. Let me see where this is popping up. No. Okay, it's not. Okay. All right. Well, I would like to know where you found that and who posted it. But that is some pretty trippy stuff. It's even trippier that somebody's going out there and finding it. That's even stranger.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for staying over and doing some overtime. I want to get back to these downloads and this contact.
Sure.
So when you, I keep getting back to this physical element of it where, and I understand a lot of this is happening with an astral out-of-body experience or in a dream or in meditation. I totally understand that. It's a different conversation totally when we are talking about something physical going on. And I want you to be very clear with everybody that this was a physical contact. And did you know that it was about to happen? Was there any vibration going on in the room? Was there any warning?
There was, when I woke up, I felt a presence. I definitely felt a presence. And that has happened before when I've had visitations where I wake up and I feel that there's somebody there. And I realize, oh, somebody wants to visit me. And they visit in that lucid dream state. But you have to understand, when you get into that lucid dream state and you open your eyes up and you're basically in the same spot that you were in, like, and I remember when Flaley was there, I remember touching the back of her head, and I remember she had this kind of strange arch at the back of her head because she had a very large skull, or like the Ponty, like very rounded. But it was almost like this, it was kind of like squarish at the back of her skull. I could feel that. And I remember also touching her arm, and she had very coarse hair on her arms, and her skin was cool to the touch. So that's the cool thing about being in a lucid dream state. You can actually have your eyes closed in a lucid dream, and you can just use your touch, and you feel everything. You feel the temperature, you feel the texture, you feel the everything. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild that you can do that in these lucid dream states. I had a visit from a Sasquatch one time in my condo or in my apartment, and I basically, the same thing happened where I woke up and my brainstem lit up and says, basically, you have a visitor. And so I get myself into that lucid state, and I'm lying on my side. All of a sudden, I feel this big, large arm wrap around me, and it's kind of his hand is just tucked underneath my arm there. And then I hear telepathically in my head, my whole body vibrated. It was so freaking low. I got a hug from a Sasquatch.
The presence, again, this is fit when you say, I just want to fully understand and stay engaged with what you're saying here. Mm-hmm. Sasquatch in front of you.
Yeah.
Smell?
No, when he came to me, it was more interdimensional. So I was in a lucid dream state, but I couldn't see them because they were behind me. But I felt this arm wrap around my body, and I felt his hand underneath my armpit, and it was like twice as big as mine. Mm-hmm. And he and then I got this huge grunt, like this big, and then I just slowly woke up out of that state, just very slowly, right? I wasn't scared at all. I was just quite amazed. And then after I woke up, I still felt his hand underneath my arm. I could still feel it when I was consciously awake. I was just like, wow. And then I documented the whole thing. It's just like, this is just amazing. So obviously the Sasquatch were happy with me. So
yeah, very, very bizarre. I haven't had a Sasquatch contact. I've seen footprints. I haven't had a contact. I had something strange in my room back in 1995. I've talked about it quite a bit. That was it was physical, and that lasted about 15 minutes, and I couldn't figure out where this guy went. That was pretty weird because he was standing in front of my sliding glass doors in my bedroom that went out to my patio. So I was thinking that the door was, I went over and the door was actually locked and closed. And that kind of freaked me out. I never really got to the bottom of it. I haven't discussed it a whole lot in the details. I've kept all of that private for a lot of different reasons. I like to hear other people's experiences and then think about what I went through and kind of cross-check, right? And see the similarities between them, and I feel them all the time. And I also know when somebody is pulling my leg too as well, where it's not the same, and there's something else that's a little bit different. But for you, when we are talking about the physical aspect, has there been anything that has involved a craft? Have you been taken aboard a craft, or has it only been with beings?
Well, I know that I've been taken on board a craft because of the evidence that was left behind. When I wake up in the morning and then I have I'm lying under sand, and I make sure my bed sheets are clean every night. And then when I wake up, and sometimes I've found, sand in my bed. Even strange, it was almost like black obsidian shards. So it's like, where did this stuff come from? I found some other odd things. That one thing, it looked almost like it was organic, and it almost looked like a tooth. Something else that looked like silicite. I don't know what it was. Just weird things. So I bag it all and date it. And I hang on to it. It's hard to, it's crazy, but I know they've picked me up. multiple times because I'll wake up with this dirt in my bed.
Any memories? Any memories from being on the craft?
None, nothing, no, nothing. Which is really frustrating because another experiencer friend, like who had followed them on Twitter, he too was on the Toronto run because we were all picked up, and he had memories of us being back at the Sandia Mountain Complex, and he said, "Yeah, I remember seeing you. You were behind glass. You were in another room. You were wearing this black shirt with this purple dress shirt over top." Well, here's the thing, Jimmy. I was wearing my black shirts and a purple dress shirt over top that entire week back in my house. How did he know what I was wearing? There's no way he could have known that. I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, and this thing that was organic that you think that may have been a tooth. What was it?
I have no idea.
Do you have the ability of taking it to somebody to have them check it out?
Yes, I do. I could. It is possible. Yeah, it feels almost like skin, but it's shaped more like a tooth. It's organic. I have no idea what it is. It looks like a scab. It feels like a scab, actually, but I don't know. It's weird. It's really strange.
Wow, that is crazy. That is crazy, and I would love to know if there is the ability to get to the DNA.
I'd love to as well. I really would.
Huh.
Yeah, I showed Grant Cameron. I took pictures of it, and he's got pictures of it too. I said, "Take a look at this." Any idea what this is? I have no idea.
And the channeling aspect of this, and before we get out of here, I want to swing this back to music. Are you able to reach out this form of contact and telepathy? And I know that you said that there's a book and there's a reference book and things. It did get posted up on Twitter, and people are talking about it right now. Are you able to go and access that for writing music and using that as a source, almost like a muse, right? Are you able to do that, and do you do it?
I mean, in the sense of like telepathy wise of bringing out music?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I figured that's what's happening with a lot of these songs that I've been writing, because they're very inspired, and they come from just the emotion, and I just pick up the guitar, and everything I play is a free flow consciousness, and then all of a sudden this idea for a song starts coming, and I press record on my phone, and I record it, and it just happened to be that recently all these songs that came out were done. I didn't have to change a note. The entire song structure flowed beautifully. It was absolutely perfect. And it's like, wow, I just have to learn it. And that's what I did. I've never done that before.
The communication when you do jump into telepathy mode is how is it visual? Is it English that you're hearing inside of your head? How does that communication happen back and forth?
Well, that I've only had that happen a few times where I've actually heard things telepathically, hearing actually, voices. One was actually my friend Marley Boone, who recently was doing a meditation for her, and I heard her clear as we're talking today. I heard her say, Kevin. I heard her say it to me, and she confirmed afterwards that she did say hello to me. So I've heard her. But I also remember hearing, getting a memory back of a visitation from the Ponte at the Ozark UFO conference back in 2017, where they actually visited me back in my hotel room. It was Tilcom, it was Radar, it was Grayson, it was Drudy. They threw a tea party for me, and I remember what their voices sounded like. I remember how loud their voices were inside my head telepathically, and I remember, Grayson interrupting Tilcom, and he gave it. It was a running joke at the time of he just interrupted, and he has a really deep voice. He said Brinkman, And I knew he was talking about radar because we've referred to radar as, Brinkman for his brinkmanship, always doing crazy stuff. And I turned around and there's Grayson, and I was totally shocked by him. And I ended up, I was drinking tea and I ended up snorting tea all over radar. So it was a crazy tea party. It was called the Tea Party. It's actually written about and documented in Sue's book, Finding ET. So great story. It's funny as heck.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating to me, and I haven't been able to do it. I think I'm going to check out this book. I was looking at the comments here on Twitter, which were saying it's actually easy. It's called the Telepathy 101 Primer, right?
101 Primer. Yeah, officialfirstcontact.com. It's on there. It's available in like 17 languages.
Okay, so I've got it right here. Yeah, officialfirstcontact.com. Let me do a quick retweet. And you said a couple of months?
Yeah, practice 30 minutes a day for 100 days.
This is the book that Kevin is talking about right now. Okay. So I've got this up in Twitter, and I'm glad that I can go and look at it and get my hands on it. Back to this on-off switch, though, and this is the thing. Is this a situation where once you start to open the door, is somebody going to be able to interrupt you? Right? You're going about your day, and suddenly is somebody going to reach out?
It is possible. Once you're opening yourself up telepathically, you're starting to communicate with, with these other star nations.
Right.
I remember my first time that happened after I read the Telepathy 101 Primer, and I did the protocols at the end, and I sent out a little telepathic hello, and I went to bed. And then I woke up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm trying to get back to sleep, and my eyes are closed, and it was almost like I was seeing this, in the Matrix when those green symbols start coming down and they start forming a three-dimensional, world.
Absolutely.
Okay, I was kind of seeing that, and all of a sudden, this Ponte face. I have my eyes closed. This Ponte face appears 2 feet from my face. And I went, whoa! And I flew backwards out of my bed, landed on the other side of the bed. I was like, what was that?
Where can everybody... Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I'm just worried about the on-off switch. And, I don't want to get into something that may be a little bit dangerous, too, as well. And you never know who's out there, right? Tricksters, things with bad intentions, because there's a little bit of everything in the universe. And I can only imagine that you need to... it's like a Ouija board, right? You just don't go into it willy-nilly and just think everything is going to be fine. That's the part that scares me a little bit. Where can everybody go and check out Pyramids on Mars UFO Radio?
Oh yeah, sure. It's on the ArtistFirst Network. So go to artistfirst.com, and you'll see a picture of me there. It says Pyramids on Mars. You click on that, it'll take you right to my archive page, and I've actually done 50 shows now. My last show was actually with Clifford Mahooty, your good friend.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Clifford's told some funny stories about you and him and the pranks you guys have done.
Let me tell you something. Clifford is one of the coolest people on this entire planet. And there's a lot of cool people out there, but I hold him up. I have such respect for Clifford. Very smart, very engaging. But I'll say this. He is one of the funniest people on this planet. That guy's sense of humor, he's just an absolutely incredible person. Incredible. I've hung out with him so much, and he's absolutely great. What is it like for you to be a host? Right? It's one thing to have people ask you questions, But it's another thing when you're on the other side, right?
Sometimes it's kind of scary because you have to keep the show going and keep the conversation, flowing. Most of the time, the people I've interviewed, I know them very well. So, I'm already familiar with, we're friends and I already know their stories. So that makes it easier. But, it's very different when you're a host because you're now, leading the show. And, questions will come up and I'll think of things to talk about and I'm bring it into the show. I've been very fortunate that I do it very naturally and I've been doing it for a long time now that it's flowing more easier. I mean, you're a total professional and, you've taken it to even higher levels. Honestly, Jimmy, I've done over 50 UFO radio shows. I've never had as much fun as I have on this show, honestly.
Look, I'm 2,000 shows in, right? And it has come to a point where I have been able to look back at myself and see how I have changed, how much I have learned from the guests and from the audience, and how not only my philosophy and my outlook has changed, but my knowledge has changed too as well. And I've changed as a person. And that's one of the things that I get out of it. I don't talk about that much, but I can see that. And one of the reasons, it's just like, it's not any different. I go to school every single night. So it's like going to college now for 8 years, right?
Yep.
8 years. I'm not on the internet. I'm not watching TV. I am talking with somebody one-on-one for 3 hours here, and then I go over to Coast where I do it for 4 hours. And I'm learning, and it's just like going to school. It isn't any different. So just imagine, and you and I can talk about this after you've done this for 8 years, and you can turn to me and go, Jimmy, you're absolutely right. I have changed. And that's what you're going to get out of it. It's fun to do. I look forward to it every single night. But if I was going to school, if I was going to college every single night, I'd be looking forward to that with the same passion that I do with doing this show.
Yeah. Because you learn so much all the time, and and there's so much more, and you learn more fundamental truths because somebody will be talking about the same thing that you've already heard before. So you know what he's talking about, but you hear it from a different perspective. So it's like it weaves more and more depth to understanding this complex world that we're in.
Yeah, like tomorrow I'm going to be over on Pyramids on Mars guitarlessons.com. Kevin, thank you so much, man. What a great conversation. And I truly look forward to the next time that you're on with us. And I would love to do your show. If you ever would like to invite me on, I would love to.
I would love to
turn this around and have you hit me with all the hard questions.
That would be awesome.
Thank you so much.
Fun.
Kevin, enjoy the rest of your night, my friend. Great night.
Thanks, man. It was.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kevin Estrella. Now, over on jimmychurchradio.com, it's all simple. PyramidsOnMars.com, Pyramids on Mars Guitar Lessons, and, of course, Kevin's radio show over on Artist First. Links are right there. Go and check it all out. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camurian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldridge. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2020 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. That cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here, Fader Night, open lines all night long. Until tomorrow night, I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.